Hey everybody, today I am sitting down with Jade from PsyQ to talk about the news and the science behind why we can feel so crappy after we watch it. So stay tuned. So like I said, I'm here with Jade from PsyQ, and as you can tell, I'm not in my apartment. Where am I? I'm at a collaboration camp, and so you'll hear other noise going on in the background, but that doesn't mean that this isn't serious.
There's a lot of creation happening.
People are filming all over. It's very exciting. So tell my viewers a little bit about what they'll find if they go to your channel, which you can click the link here to check it out. What is it you do on PsyQ?
Yeah, we're part of the Young Turks Network, so we cover the news. And we in PsyQ try and explain the science behind the news. So like the science of why Donald Trump is so popular, or the science of climate change and why we need policies around that.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about the science behind why, after watching the news for so long, if it's a negative image or negative issues, why do we feel so bad? So what is it that causes that?
Yeah, I noticed recently, because we're in an election period right now, we're talking a lot about problems. Everyone's like, these are the problems and I want to solve them. And so we're hearing a lot of more negative stories of the world. And the thing is, when we watch the news and it's basically 100% negative, it's primarily negative stories. There's been shootings and there's systemic problems, it's corruption, and all this is getting a lot of coverage. Our brains recalibrate to feel like that is the norm, that the world out there is scary and bad and it's all bad news. And so we get used to hearing that news and feeling like that is the world that we live in.
Almost like we're so adaptable as creatures that our brain is like, well, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, well, our brains are plastic. So plasticity means that when we hear inputs, we can change the way our brain is structured. So we start to build up this like threats as normal. So our brain starts to adapt to feeling like we're in a scary place. We feel more stress, and so watching the news can actually make us feel not so great. Yeah,
which makes sense. I've even heard from a lot of you that having the recent shootings, and whether it's in Paris or in San Bernardino, those of you with PTSD who've been in situations that were already scary felt like it exacerbated that issue, almost like it's a trigger and our brain remembers, and it's like, oh, hypervigilance, and it frightens us even more.
And ultimately, that like the news is what's happening in the world, but it's not everything in the world is negative.
No.
But when we get that constant input of negativity, it's not a real view of reality.
Exactly, and I think that's an important thing to remember, because we can always, just like I talk about our negative thoughts, we have to combat negative images. And like Jade is saying, if our brain is going to be like, well, that's just reality and that's just the way it is, we're going to have to combat that. So what do? I just have 2 quick tips to offer to help you out. Number 1, limit the amount of time you spend reading, watching, whatever, news articles or the news itself, because I find personally, if I just watch it all the time, I do feel worse. And a lot of it's just speculation, which is so frustrating.
It's important to stay informed, but sometimes what we're seeing isn't really the information, it's people's speculation.
Exactly. And so I oftentimes will watch, let's say, 30 minutes in the morning, and then I'll wait a couple of days to catch back up on that issue later when they have all the facts. So then I know exactly what's going on, and I can feel informed, because we know that disengaging, like, well, just don't watch the news, isn't good. We can't not be informed. But that's a way, just by limiting the amount of time you spend, you'll find that you get a little reprieve and you feel a little better. And the second thing, as always, is find someone, doesn't have to be a professional, but find a friend you can talk to about it, because a lot of us, I know, hold that worry and that fear and all of that inside, and that only makes it worse. And then we can spin and kind of turn, a molehill into a mountain of an issue. And so if we have someone that we can spitball with, like a Jade, and I can be like, yeah, that was really terrible. I can't believe that happened, and I'm really frightened, and that was really close to where I live. And I can express that to her and get some empathy and understanding back, my burden feels less. So I would encourage you, if you are feeling frightened, if you're feeling scared, it's very normal. Jade is telling us that's what our brain does. That's how we are. That's how we work. But make sure that you limit your time and speak to someone. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Sharing your expertise.
Yeah.
Other edutubers hanging out, us nerds together. Hey, nerd power. See you next time.
Bye.
So if you are interested, as I am, in PsyQ, I will have all of their links below so you can find Jade, you can hear Jade, because she has so many cool things to say. And you're going to want to check that out and catch their videos, because you don't want to miss them. Bye!